Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Divine Brothers podcast here on this lovely morning. Snow kissed here in Beijing. I'm sure sunny in Hawaii and probably suicidal in Alabama, but that's just how it works. That's the balance of the world. You know, I
Yeah,
had a pretty good week. Can't complain. How you doing, Chase?
bureaucratic bullshit, man. You got a
I
taste of
know.
it this week. I've been doing this background check for this federal job, and it's 7 years, but it's like they're picking apart my past. I'm not lying about anything, but the dates might not be 100% on point. And they know everything. And they, I had to get Dean's address. I texted him. I was like, fuck it, I'll just use his school address. But it's so pervasive. It's so invasive. I'm sorry. They're just like, I see you don't know where your brother lives in China. Try to find that address. And if you can't, please tell us why that relationship is estranged. And I'm like, what the
That's
fuck?
strange.
I was
Mm.
like,
Girl jobs, eh?
it is awful. It is like I feel the eyes on me. It's not comfortable. It's pretty fucking awful. And they send it back every single time they want something more. Yeah, we want
Ugh.
this. And now do this. What about this? It's like they're trying to catch you in something. I'm like, man, this is pretty fun. We act like fucking China's the surveillance state, but the US just does it in a
It's all
different
the
way.
same.
Same shit.
All the
Same
Yeah.
shit.
I got a couple friends in the Chinese government, like gay guy friends, and they tell me like they knew the second they came in there. You know what I mean? Like they're like, listen, you don't have a wife and kids, you can't have promotion, you know, because we expect a certain type of clean cut family image in the higher levels, you know. So they know every fucking thing you've ever done. And if you put something on the internet, you better believe they got a copy of it, you know? So there's probably pictures of your dick that they're looking at right now, just saying, all right, does this measure up to what we want in the United States federal government, you know?
You just got to accept that. You just got to know it's like, whatever, man. It is what it is. I can't
It is
imagine
what it
being
is.
being that person that has that job. You're the security specialist for the government. We need you to look at everybody you've ever met. And like, ugh, I don't think I'd want to
It's
know.
probably there's probably like a degree of perversion to it. Like you're that guy, like you're into that sort of thing.
I
Like
wouldn't, would you
yeah,
want to know everything about it? I wouldn't want to know. I'd rather be in the dark, I think. I don't think I want to know.
there was a book. I wish I could remember the name of it. There was a book from years ago, and it was about censorship, and it was about the girl. I remember it was a girl, and she was responsible for determining what gets censored. You know, like way back, like movie shit. Back in the 70s and 60s, and she was talking about the numbing process, about how you just see so much twisted, vile, fucked up shit that you just become numb, and eventually you become useless as like a censor because nothing affects you anymore, and you can't really tell, what's what or anything like that. So I'm sure they'll just use AI to do it. Take out the human element entirely.
Yeah, why not, man? Sure. Anyway, that's been my week. It's been fucking awful.
Oh, I'm
Everything
sorry.
about the bureaucratic stuff makes it feels evil. I don't know if it's evil, it just feels wrong. It is wrong.
Yeah.
This is selling your soul a bit, but that's all right. I got a price on my soul.
Hey, wild change stuff. Did you watch a little bit of that Milo thing I sent you?
Yeah, I watched almost the entire thing.
What did
Um,
you think? I'm curious. Just honest, good or bad. What'd you think?
Milo has these moments where he's unbelievably serious and straight.
Yeah.
Like if you just tuned in for like a couple minutes and heard him when he's just real concise and to the point, he actually makes the semen demon. He actually makes some really good points.
Demon. Yeah.
And some of it's completely off the rails, and the gay still just completely, the glitter comes just
Yeah.
sparkling out. But it's like, dude, I could see a straight guy in there. There are moments of masculinity that he has. The problem is he always gets lost in these little tangents, like the little the gay. He can't help but be glitter. Like,
Yeah.
and if he just stayed concise, I'm like, dude, you'd actually be kind of you would be you could pass as a straight intellectual. But it, there was it made me consider that conditioning is possible for some gay people. The idea that, oh, you're born gay to me has always been off. You've always argued that. So if you've been conditioned gay, could you be deconditioned? I do think it's feasible. He made some good points to that, and I think that should be stressed. I think the problem is people will take it as an absolute because I definitely think you can be born pretty much gay and you're not going to ever change. But the possibility for both is what he presented, and he's more on one side than the other. But it was somewhat compelling and somewhat way over the top. Yeah.
It made me think, and I don't want to admit that. I want to say, this is totally bullshit. He's a right wing, wild man and all that sort of stuff. But I'd be lying if he didn't really make me sit down and process. Like he started talking about expressions, like he was like did you hear his rant on the fashion industry and how it's really like gay guys getting revenge on their mothers?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds so crazy, but you know what? I kind of bought it a little. Like this, I kind of did because it's like there is an obsession in the gay world with like making people look ridiculous, like embracing like kind of a vomit look, and they love putting it on women in particular. And if you look at any of the newest fashion, it's all disgusting, all of it. Like it's like, and he argues that what happened is like gay used to be interesting and unique, and you were an outsider and a rebel, but now it's become the most mainstream thing ever, you know. And like it's lost all of its flavor. And as he was saying that, I was just like, fuck, that is how it feels. You know what I mean? Like, so, fuck, I thought it was very interesting, man. I
What did what
really
did you
did. I was thinking about it.
what did you think of his point about like Pete Buttigieg? He's like that he made a conscious choice to go gay for the
No,
political.
did you know he dated women before? I didn't know that. I
I mean,
didn't know that.
I could see it. He could present it straight. A man flip, a woman totally flipping sexuality. A man flipping. I
For
guess
sure.
it's feasible. I guess it is. I mean, sure, some men
He
could.
came up. He came up back in those Ferguson riots. That was like 2016. That's peak Me Too. He was just a nobody mayor. There's nothing special about him. He's not very good looking. You know what I mean? Like ambitious dude. He made dude, I absolutely believe somebody would, if they were ambitious enough, they would do something that extreme. And who knows? Maybe they're not even having sex. Who knows, man?
It could
He could
be
just be like,
asexual. Yeah, it's like it's not really a thing for him. Sure.
he adopted two black kids.
Yeah.
Like, listen, I understand like adopting, but specifically an ambitious mayor who suddenly turns gay, adopts two black kids, works his way up the ladder, beloved by the woke side of the left. And he, by the way, he's the most centrist dude ever, meaning like he is all about, I'll take money from anybody who will give it to me. You know, he has got phony written all fucking over him. I don't buy. I didn't know that. I don't buy it. I don't
What
buy it at all.
do you think in his head it's just like this is a game and I choose to play it to win? Like whatever
Yes,
role. Yeah. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. I think that's it, dude. I think that's what happened. That's what happened with the people who are not gay, who pretend to be straight in the Congress. That's why there's so many gay ones, because they're playing the game. They say, okay, I know what I have to do to get the power I want. I know what I have to say to get the power I want. I know how it works.
I think that's
And
fine.
so
It's fine. It's fine. It's much better than
that
repression
works.
and these weird fucked up emotions you get from, suppression. So if you got the ideology or the mindset, hey, it's game, I choose to play. It's like, yeah, fair. Okay. Sure.
Just be careful because if you get exposed, it's over. Nobody wants to play the game anymore. You turn into George Santos.
Did
That
you
happens.
did you see that clip of him at the beginning? He's on an interview that Buttigieg. He's like, yes, he's the transportation whatever director, and he's like, highways are racist, and I'm like, what?
I know that
He's
that.
on a
Oh my God.
podcast talking to some
Uh,
black chick about how the highway system is against black people. I'm like, I can't believe people entertain this shit. I mean, you got
I
to be,
think
yeah, I
I
can't.
think he's leading the polls for the presidential nomination. I
Stop.
think he is. I
Shut
think
up.
so. I
Shut
think
up.
so. He checks all the boxes, Chase. All the boxes.
Every
You know,
single box that there ever was, he checks it. That's right.
That's the problem. He's checking too many boxes, and that's the problem,
That's
dude.
me. I'm straight, gay. My son is black. I'll adopt a Indian kid if I need whatever I need to do.
The perfect like coin flip. to Trump. See, that's what they want. They want the exact opposite. So there you go. You get a little
Sure,
beta man. Yeah,
sure.
yeah, be good.
What's up, purveyor of fine art? How have you been?
Hello, friends. Oh, I've been great, Jace. Thanks for the question. No, I want to come in. I didn't realize that you were going to send me that Milo video, Dean, when you asked that question. I just thought you were being a weirdo.
Austin says, I do not want to theorize about my sexuality.
Well,
So,
you should be Austin the Prude. That should be your name on here. It's just
uh,
a little too sexual, and he taps out immediately.
and prude is the word. Yeah, I like that. Prudy.
That's funny. I've known about Milo for probably a decade. Like he's been a public figure for a long time. I'm not surprised. He likes to get people riled up. I don't know if I believe that he believes anything he says, but that's just my opinion on the man. Did you not
Oh,
know
that's all.
about him?
I thought you were going to say something about sexuality.
No, man. Like, I don't believe unless he's pointing
Austin,
to
why
like
are you
science.
gay? Why are you gay? That's the question Tucker was asking, and I'm not even joking, right? Like he was, that famous Kenyan or Argentinian or Ghanaian guy, and he looks at the lady and he's like, "Why are you gay?" Like that fundamental question, and you know, people find it offensive to ask that, but it is worth contemplating. I have my own theories and stuff like that, but do you have yours?
Uh, not really. I mean, I think it's probably largely genetic, at least in my case. But um, I think it's a question like, hey, why is the sky blue? Why, why
I
is a bird
disagree.
sing?
Because I've talked about this before, but the sexually like the development sexual phase of a boy's youth is like 9 to 12. Like these are kind of the critical years, maybe even earlier than that, right? And that was right when my parents divorced, and I remember like I went off with mom, Chase stayed with dad, and my mother was just in a complete mental state, like just devastated, crying every night. And I was living like going between relatives and I was going between my aunts and stuff like that, who were also just having their own emotional issues and stuff. And I really remember this feeling of women represent misery and depression and sadness. And I really do believe that that chapter of my life defined me sexually because there was a real ingrained turnoff to the misery of women. And I think it pushed me in the other direction. And now that, again, that's just me personally, and I could be wrong, but based on my life story and also just considering me who's just barely registering on the gay scale and stuff like that, I found it to be compelling. I go with that particular argument, and I think that some people experience similar phenomenon. Milo goes into that, by the way, talking about like um, absence of fathers, some kind of animosity towards a mother figure and stuff like that. I think there's merit. I think it's definitely worth meditating upon.
I don't find those kind of answers convincing. Like any type of like, psychoanalysis about why people are gay, like Freud had his ideas, like it was to endear one to the mother. I just don't. I find it just wild speculation that's not based on anything. Point to some real scientific literature if you want to talk about it, in my opinion, because it's just not convincing. You could give me any indication, any answer. People used to think that schizophrenia was from cold mothering, but now we know it's purely genetically caused, or largely genetically caused. So when I hear Milo, you're talking about it, the source
Well,
gets
he
me
brings sources.
immediately very
Dr.
skeptical.
Nikolai. This Dr. Nikolai guy, I was looking into him. He's quite interesting. He has some interesting research there. And it's not like he's a quack because he's published it. It's been published in several scientific journals and stuff like that. I was looking into it. It's interesting stuff for sure. And I think that there are definite I have known many, many gay guys with no father figure. Many, many gay guys with no father figure. And I've known many, many gay guys with awkward and strange relationships with their mothers. Yes. Now, Austin, do any of those fit you personally?
Yeah, I guess
Let's
maybe
see.
both to some extent, but
Oh,
I
okay.
I still don't find it convincing. And you know,
Also, the youngest sibling. Also, the youngest sibling more likely to be gay too. Yeah, could you
yeah,
fit that criteria as well? Hmm?
yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that.
Ah, okay, okay, interesting. It's worth contemplating. See, I think that you've just labeled this as bullshit without actually looking into it, and I think that someone with an open mind should be willing to at least investigate with an earnest heart and an open mind.
Yeah, it just like it goes back so far into history. And you mentioned that book on piracy and homosexuality. I mean,
Oh
it
yeah.
was pervasive even in really ancient cultures. So it's hard to believe that this would be something that is culturally developed or trauma based. It just seems very unlikely. Not to
But
say there
Sodomy and
aren't.
the Piratical Tradition, that's a great book because what it argues is that this is literally a boat where there's only men, right? You're on the sea for months and months at a time. So it's the prison problem where there's an adaptation that happens, right? These aren't all born this way. People who join a pirate crew, it's a matter of necessity and evolution that it happens, like you're just adapting to the situations you're in. And the other
Or
thing, the Spanish, right? When the Spanish come over, okay, the Spanish don't bring any men either, right? But they don't have homosexuality. What they do instead is they have all these native women that they take on as their brides and stuff like that. So it's the circumstance, right? Like you don't see the same thing with the Spanish because there's women available. But on the high seas, when there's only men, yeah, there's the adjustment.
yeah, the prison thing is kind of interesting because people talk about gay for the stay, and I wonder that's not true for everybody. You have to be a little bit queer, I think, to even entertain that idea. But I would say definitely an adaptation. But why would maybe homosexuals love boats? Ever think of that, Dean? But I think there's other reasons, like homosexuals would be attracted to a profession in which they're surrounded by men, in an enclosed area. So I think you could. That's what gets me about speculations, that you could give one idea and I could give another. But outside of like real research and statistics or whatever, I think we'll just be in a state of
Well, Austin, as
speculation.
the research, I mean, what about personal experience? Have you ever been able to condition yourself to something that was not like the best example I could give when I moved to Asia? I never masturbated to an Asian chick. I never found them attractive. And then 3 or 4 months in, with little to no social life, I was like, I have to change this. I have to. And I was able to condition myself to Asian porn and and
Yeah.
and it worked. But that's a straight guy just switching from a certain looking girl to another looking. But I was able to do that. I thought the leap to, for men at least, from women to men would be almost impossible, if not difficult. But maybe for some, maybe it is. Maybe it's possible. I don't know.
Yeah, I totally agree that it's possible for people to be traumatized or
Well, we're not.
indoctrinated.
Why are we calling it trauma? It's
Yeah,
just
why
conditioning.
trauma? I
It's
don't
just
like your
conditioning.
labeling.
Yeah. I mean, conditioned to like Asian chicks. You conditioned to like fucking Asian men. I don't, it's not, it doesn't have to be trauma, right?
Yeah, I mean that was the theory. That's the theory people thought. In one case, my ex-boyfriend, it came up that he was gay in front of some lady, and her immediate response was like, "Oh, was he molested?" So a lot of people do think this way, and the same for pedophilia. A lot of people believe that pedophiles are the overwhelming majority were abused themselves. So I don't know. Some people would track it down to trauma, but I think it's reasonable to say you're just like adapting to the environment and maybe psychoanalytic reasons about the associations built around women and chaos. I totally
Well,
believe that could push you in a direction, but I don't believe that you began as like a sterling straight person genetically oriented towards women. I think you,
well,
at the
hold
very
on.
least, you could have been in the middle, right?
Speaking of evidence, the one thing that people never acknowledge is that no one's ever found the gay gene. No, it's never been found. They've looked and looked and looked and looked, and there is no little section of the DNA that makes you gay. And even though we see homosexuality all over, and it's true, you do see it in the animal world, and it's something that's gone back for thousands and thousands of years, millions of years, excuse me. But the idea is that you're born this way. There's no evidence to confirm that. you know? And see, that's something you have to acknowledge too. Like, that's what we like to say because it sounds good, but I don't believe that that's ever been found, you know? And so when I see the other side, and I do see a string of like strange relationships with the mother or the absence of a father figure, and you do see it again and again and again, I'm inclined to lean that direction.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But things like I don't think they've ever found like a single gene for schizophrenia or depression or anxiety or any of those things. So it's probably really complicated. Not to say we'd never find it, but I definitely don't take it off the table. I haven't looked it up, but I thought there were found like genetic dispositions in people that were gay, but I might be mistaken about that. Um, but I totally, I don't dismiss your argument offhand. I'm just not convinced totally. And it's probably somewhere in the middle, right? There's probably predisposition and then catalyzing experience throughout life that pushes you in one direction or another, like a lot of mental conditions like depression, anxiety, schizophrenia. These things are tend to be triggered by trauma primarily, but it's probably through other ways. So I would assume it's probably something like that, but you wouldn't know because you'd have to basically raise the same person in different environments to see if their sexuality changed. And I don't know if that's ever been done. Maybe twin experiments, Chase. Anything of something like that has
Oh,
ever occurred?
there are monozygotic twins where one is gay and one's not. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there was this really good book called Blood. I wish I could remember the author. He was a geneticist, and it was an amazing book because he very convincingly argued that 65% of your personality, 65% of everything that makes you you is genetic. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like he really like he went hard into the evidence, and I left it and was just like, holy shit. Like, I remember you were talking about like those different genetic. We have found an empathy gene. Like, people who have this particular sequence, right, are more empathetic, and there's been talks of like using CRISPR to insert the empathy gene in people and stuff like that. And he goes into great detail about it. So I think that, there's certainly a lot written into our code. But of course, the other thing he emphasizes is that, yeah, that's 65%, but that 35% is very impactful too. Just because the baseline is powerful doesn't mean that there's a lot of maneuvering that happens in the environment of life. So it's interesting stuff, man. Very interesting.
Yeah, if I had a
Yeah.
lean, I would have said genetic. But yeah, that seems pretty close. I've heard 70 on a podcast before, so
Yeah.
65 to 70 genetic. Yeah, that seems to be the disposition, but there's a large
There was
minority for conditioning.
all the studies that he did was on those monozygotic twins, the twins, the identical
Hmm.
twins. And it was like, it was the sort of thing where they would stay. What they looked at is like identical twins that were separated at birth through adoption, right? And these guys would like, it was crazy. They would go to like the same majors, sometimes the same schools, sometimes the same jobs, dating the same kinds of women, like just crazy similarities, even though separated at birth because the DNA was exactly the same. You know,
You know what the fucked up thing is for that psychology exam? Because I remember studying for this, for the monozygotic, and the pitch
yeah,
is their lives are essentially almost identical. Same path,
right.
same intelligence, same outcome. They never talked about the partner. Like they never talked about was it gay or
Hmm.
straight. And when I did, I remember hearing about that book, and I never read it, but I just read the Google. It's just like it can vary. And I was like, oh,
Yes.
that's not definitive. I wonder why you leave that the fuck out on the exam. It's just
You know exactly why they leave it out, Chase.
they
Yes.
but it's just that they nitpick what they want. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, what's the data and the facts? I'm like, there is data and facts. The data and facts they want you to know. It was really
Yeah.
annoying, man. I hated that test. Bullshit.
Because see, this is the big problem with academia, man. There's so many taboo topics,
Horrible.
especially in psychology, right? Like, of course, the most famous one's Charles Murray and the IQ shit. But it's funny because I read not the whole because it's gigantic, but I read a section on race in the bell curve, And when I read it, he was talking about like a point of difference. Like we're talking about the tiny, like marginal differences. You know what I mean? But it was enough, right? We're talking about just like 1 or 2 points on a huge scale. So really, we're just talking about the extremes of the situation. But just because he dared to have it, and by the way, this was a boring fucking thing. It was all statistics and all that sort of shit. It was over for him. You know, that name, the bell curve, Anne Murray, it's forever associated with racism. All because he dared to say he didn't even dare to say anything. He just reported data. That was it. It
Do
was
you
just fucking
remember?
data.
Do you remember Zimbardo, the Stanford prison experiment where they got
Oh
the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
oh wait, this is unethical. We could never reenact this again. I'm like, dude, put that shit together in China, where
Yeah.
they've never heard of it. And like, you're playing a role, you're playing a role, you're all being observed. Don't fuck up. You got 2 weeks. I don't think anybody would break. I don't
No.
think they would.
Yeah. They would
Yeah.
absolutely China. It's amazing how just there's something in these people that just tolerates. It's an unbelievable level of toleration, that
Yes.
we do not have in the West, not even a little bit. And it's just shocking. Shocking.
That's the other thing. That was on the test. Why was this unethical? Why will this never be reproduced again? I was like, why the fuck
Who's to
won't
say
it?
what's ethical?
Huh?
Uh,
It is in the
I
West.
remember. You remember you had like that. It was a PhD class, and there was a Chinese guy in the class, and it was something about like, what do you do if you start dating
Yeah.
a client, right? And like the therapy's thought stopped, but then you start dating the client, and of course they were just like, well, this is absolutely unethical. You can't do that at all. But the Chinese guy was like, you stopped working together. Why is
It's
there an ethical question?
It was
You
the only
know?
time he ever spoke, and he was disturbed. He was like,
Mm,
I don't understand. So in America, if you are attracted to your client, you have to end the session to refer him out, and you have to wait at least 2 years. And even after 2 years, you have to prove that you did not manipulate them because the therapist has the advantage in their head. And he heard it. He
right.
like literally laughed in class. He's like, based off what? This is unbelievably ridiculous. Who says the therapist has the advantage? And he's like, if this is in China, both people agree, hey, I'm attracted to you, you're attracted to me, we're going to sign a piece of paper, we're not going to do therapy, and then we can do whatever we want. I was like, God, that seems kind of reasonable.
I don't understand. Where's the issue?
I don't
Where's the
know.
issue? Why does there need to be 2 years? Who is the ethical, like, where's the board that's making these decisions?
The people
Who's
that
sitting down
can you
with this?
imagine? I need to be on the ethical board. Me. I
My
need
God.
to be the one that's making it's like, oh my God. I would love to
Yeah.
see the ethical board. Who makes it up? Just it's a bit disturbing to think.
Should look it up because I bet geographically you're gonna look it up first thing. Located in San Francisco, California. You know,
I've
like,
adopted three black children and an Indian boy. Yes.
oh man, that's crazy. But yeah, these differences are something I really appreciate, man. This week, me and Wu Yin, I was reading Alan Watts this week.
Got a great voice,
With
that
all
guy. Great voice.
no, reading him, but his voice is good, really good. And by the way, Austin, I want to side with my brother now because Jesus Christ, that was the worst fucking thing I've ever read in my life. And I think you should just lose your right to ever nominate a book
He's
again.
done. He's done. No
I'm
more of
done
this
with you.
shit.
I'm
He's
done
done
with
with his
you.
shit.
It was
Good.
garbage. It was absolute garbage. So, anyways, as I was reading something to cleanse my palate of the rot Austin insisted that I swallow, there was this. He started going into the I Ching, which is the book of changes, the big famous old book. And I was like, "Man," and he explains how to use it. Like you use these coins and you roll it out, and here's how you do the numbers. And so I was like, fuck it, let's do this. So I downloaded the book in Chinese, and me and Wu Yan, we did it. Chase, I have not been this struck since fucking Marlene. It was shocking.
Wow.
It struck me to my soul, and then it did Wu Yin. He got a completely different reading, and it struck him to his soul, and it shook me to my core. I felt like I was interacting with something beyond this world. It was one of the most powerful spiritual experiences of my life, and the details it gives you, it it shocked me. It shocked me to my core,
When
man.
you
It
said
was
it shook you, Austin snickered at you. I saw him. He goes, Gave a little snicker.
Yeah, he wants to make his judgment, but let's all just remember this is a man who can't tell us why he's gay, and a man who insists that we
Well,
read his
all
book.
right, let's not attack us. It's too easy. Now, why did it shake your soul or shook your soul? What did it do?
I don't really want to get into the details of it because it almost feels sacred, but let me just say this that it was able to specifically call out parts of my life that you remember how Marlene would say shit that was just like, you shouldn't know that. It knew things about me that it had no
Yeah.
business knowing, you know, and
It, what is
call
this?
that
What is this called again? The E what?
I Ching or
I-
I Ching in English, I Ching, but
Means what? What does that mean? I heard the
it's like
Ida chain. ID.
so like the yin and yang symbol, and you know how around it sometimes they have those lines, like straight line, a little separated line, and stuff like that. Those are called trigrams, right? And there's 64 of them all around it, and it's you toss coins and you get different lines, and then you read the lines in the Book of Changes, which is this ancient book from thousands and thousands of years ago. And it's like the first holy book ever, like before the Bible, it's the first holy book ever and came from China. And, anyways, you have to ask it a question, and then it gives you like these very powerful words. It goes on and on, like these poetry sort of things. And you have to line up like the question you asked with the certain trigrams and stuff like that. And it just, it was creepy, man. It struck me in my soul. I also, once I was done with it, I was like, I don't think I can do this for another 5 or 6 years. Like I left it with such respect that I felt like I had to put it to the side and go back to it later.
Wow, man. Sounds like something I need to do.
I'll teach you if you want to. Next time I see you, I'll show you how it works, man. But god damn, like it was powerful. I'll put it to you this way. I got it I the characters that you draw in the Chinese, like that's the thing about a Chinese character. Like a Chinese character is just one little character, right? But it has like so much meaning, just endless meaning that comes out of it. It's fucking cool. It was really fucking cool. So yeah, Chase, we'll do you. Um, I don't think Austin snickered in it, so I don't think we'll do him.
It's
But
too too
I'm glad
That's
you're
pretty.
not
open.
true. Chase is just making stuff up again. You really didn't like Plotinus?
Way to change the subject, Austin. Yes, but listen, I don't dig. I know this kind of writing, the philosophy writing, and I just find it tedious, just insanely tedious. And honestly, I have to. I just to me, it's the absence of flow. It's the thing that I thought Wallace had wonderfully, like the ability to have this flow through the writing. But I just found every line tedious, having to stop and go back and be like, "What did you say? Where are we in the us argument?" Whoever the translator was, man, like that was just a lesson in awkwardness, you know. So no, I did
Wow.
not
Well,
at
Austin,
all.
I haven't read it, but I'll read it tonight. But it's things that are not working in your favor. Because when I hear his name, I think of like some disease that you have. Like you have
Mm.
Plotinus. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. You got the times. We're gonna have to freeze it off. Apply this 3 times a day with a comb, and you'll get rid of it.
Well, I guess I understand, Dean. It is a little bit dry, and I feel that way sometimes too. But as far as influence, he's one of the most influential and consequential spiritual thinkers in the Western canon, from Augustine to Pseudo
Hey,
Dionysus.
I ask both of you this. Why do they call it canon? Why is that? Why do they, what's the, why?
Biblical term. A
Yep.
canon refers to laws that are made, but it's the idea. Like the canon comes from the Catholic Church in the Middle Ages, right? It comes like out of the 11th century, but it's the idea of a law, a series of laws that applies to an institution and all those who take part in the institution. So, like the church has canon laws that are only applicable to those within the church, right? They're separate from secular laws, stuff
Okay.
like that.
I wonder why they chose to use that term for the gun, canon.
That's a
I don't know.
great,
Yeah.
great question, Chase. But The point is, as like you go farther and farther back, you find people that are cited more often, people that are more influential, and you go back far enough. I mean, you hit Plato and people before that, but he's a really important figure. He was foundational for the creation of Sufism, mystical forms of Christianity, a lot of different things, Kabbalah, Ficino, like all these like Renaissance thinkers, and a lot of what you read today is indirectly influenced by Plotinus. His idea is the one as a foundational or a foundation for being in the intelligible world. That was Platonic, but um, the idea of emanationism, that things like flow out of one another, starting from the top. That's like it's foundational. So I totally get it. You don't appreciate how philosophy is written, but I hope you would understand the historical value of it. Like this is what everyone's reading, and this is what
Well,
greatly influenced
Eh,
Western
eh.
here's what I'll say.
Western.
History repeats itself, and you've repeated yourself 3 weeks in a row with books that make people viscerally angry. So I think that you've lost your privilege, and I'm ready for Bobby. Let's move on. Okay, I'm just I can't anymore. Done with you.
Well,
You
we'll get off the book topic, guys. Now, today I switched over from insurances, so now I'm on my PhD insurance. So I had to drop a couple clients. It's interesting, and I had to drop one today. Like out of the blue. I've been seeing her for a year. I'm like, yeah, I can't see you anymore. I'm sorry, you can't pay. And her biggest issue was felt stuck. I'm always I don't know what to do. And I was just so honest today. I was like, you always fucking say that. And then you like
Oh,
you look at me like I have the answer. Like I'm the one that's known you for 42 years. I was like, fucking make a move. Do something. So I'm scared to change. I'm like, well, fucking do something because it's not working. She goes, God, you're right. I think I think when it's over and you can just say whatever the hell you've been wanting to say the whole time. I think she probably got more out of today in therapy ending than I gave her the last 6 months. Just from
it's
being
amazing
straight
how
up.
that can happen.
I'm like, just
Yeah.
shut up. Shut the fuck up. Stop asking me for fucking advice and just, make a change, make a fucking move, anything. Good God. And she appreciated it. It was amazing.
You know, maybe you can get to a point where you have enough clients where
Do that daily.
you no, but you pick and choose.
Oh
Meaning you have
God,
the
that'd be
right to
great.
say, like,
You know,
I don't want to deal with this guy anymore. And so you get to give them the final session, you
yeah.
know?
Like,
Yeah.
look, you're too weak. You just, you're not man. You can't adapt. I see you fading pretty quickly, and I can't be associated with you. I got to find someone that's,
Yeah.
you know, above you, spirit.
That is interesting. Sometimes I take pride in I think that there's something really cool about like mic drop moments. You know what I mean? Like it's the last thing you say and you drop the mic, so to speak,
George
you know.
Costanza would have killed for one of those. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, always leave on a high note, you know. Chase always leaving on a life-shattering note, you know, like with
Yes.
a truth bomb that destroys you, you know. But I think that you know, I often wonder if that's what all therapy is waiting for, those moments. But you have to delay it and delay it and delay it, you
So,
know, for whatever reason.
dude, I didn't tell you this one. I got this young guy. He's super. He's a pushover, but he's becoming less of a pushover. And this is his
Yeah.
motto. And I told him he needs to make a bracelet. WWCS. And you know what that
What
stands
would
for?
Chase do, huh?
S. What would Chase say?
Oh,
That's
oh,
his thing.
Chase. Oh, Jesus
I was like,
Christ.
this is brilliant. I go, I love this. This is fantastic. I want to see you with the bracelet next week. And it's fantastic.
I cannot believe people hang on every word of Chase like he's Aristotle or something sitting at
Oh,
the hem
oh,
of his.
and I referenced South Park, and he knew the episode, and he was so grateful. He's like, "That's the perfect example. Thank you." I was like, "Yeah, you're."
Ah, really? See, you're plugged into the cultural zeitgeist, man, all the
He was
time.
talking about his mom. He goes, "My mom is someone I can never do anything wrong. I can't. I could,
Oh,
I could rob a bank, and she would still support me. She would deny it. I could kill someone.
oh,
She would."
the one where she thinks
Stan's
Stan's
mom and the
killing people.
fish. My
Yeah,
boy's such a good boy. He's such a good boy. And I was like, "Is that your mom?" He goes,
such a
"That's my
beautiful
mom.
boy.
That's my mom." I was like, He goes, "That's perfect." I was like, "That's right. That's why I'm the psychologist." Yeah.
I saw it last night, just a random one, because Wu Yin discovered South Park a few weeks ago, and he's been loving it. He's like, "Oh my God, I can't
Early
believe you did
South
this."
Park was fantastic. This is
We
fantastic.
watched it. There's an episode called Clubhouse. It's the one where his parents get a divorce. Do you remember this one?
Yeah, the stepdad. Why don't you let me in? God.
God, I just keep trying and trying and trying.
What's the
Now,
stepdad's name? What's his name? Roy?
Roy or Stan, Roy, I think
Yeah.
Roy. But yeah, he's just like, now for God's sakes, go outside and chop some fireworks. I remember the Chase always loved this line where he's like, "Can I watch Terrence and Phillip?" And he's like, "I had a really rough day." He's like, "Chores, chores, dude, chores." Oh my God, it made me laugh fucking hard, man. Really, what it was like.
I think Austin just snickered again. I don't think he appreciates the shallow humor that we
No,
find.
man. Austin is there in his ivory tower, looking down on him, And I frankly, I knew that we were in trouble when he refused to go into why he's gay. So with that in mind, I mean, say what you want to say, Austin, with your little snickers and your very clear-cut homosexuality, but just know the world's looking and they're judging.
I don't feel that judgment anymore, Dean, because I've reached the center of myself and I'm perfectly happy now. Nothing can shake me.
Yeah.
I wish you
Narcissist.
guys would understand the depth of my peace right now. It's nothing you could say could bother me. Not even Chase's cutting critiques of me. Jeez. That one hurt a little bit. That one entered the citadel of my soul and shook it a little bit, but I'm okay now.
So I disturbed your solitude. I got in.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yes.
Only psychopaths can do that, and only
Thank you.
for a few minutes, but I bounced back.
Hey, I've got our cousin here, and we're just polar opposites on pretty much everything. But I showed her Mr. In Between the show, and she likes it.
Uh, yeah.
It's amazing.
Hey, did
Finally
she make
found
that?
something that she appreciates. It was incredible.
She make that recipe? That recipe that I sent, or show it to her.
You know what she really appreciated? You know what she loved was
Drawings.
yes. She was like,
Well, that's all that matters.
she
It's
goes,
cute.
this is so helpful. Like the details and then the little cute little drawing. She
Yeah.
loved it. She actually wanted
Let me tell you.
to work with him and do a book with him. Yeah.
I will tell you something, and I believe this, man. So our cousins, ABK, American born Korean, but Asians have certain things that click. Like I know this now. I've lived with them so much, and there is one universal rule for Asians, and it applies to all of them. Cute. They are suckers for cute. Anything cute, they lose their mind. They're just powerless to it.
Yep.
I've never seen anything like it. And when I say cute, I mean like stupid cute. Think Hello Kitty, that sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like they're just powerless to it. So those cute little drawings, I was like, she's gonna like these drawings. I know she is. So that's how they work, man.
It's
Fundamental.
fascinating because Austin, this is a highly efficient person. This is a person that could be an engineer, a doctor, or whatever. But she hated cooking. And she's all right, we'll try it 3 to 4 times. That's what it takes with her. 3 to 4 times of cussing, yelling, screaming. I fucking hate this. On the fifth time, obsessed with it. I
Yeah.
got it. I love it. And now it's she lives for it. It's benefiting me. And I have
I
no
was about
no
to say,
real
lucky you. Welcome, welcome to the
yes.
club, man.
But it's just like
Yeah.
that's it. You got to weather the storm, and then once she gets hooked into something, that's it. It's over. She did the same thing with kickboxing. She went to third class. She was hooked. First two, she was
See,
like, I'm gonna drop it. Third,
so
hooked.
would you, what do you think? Would you take on that superpower? I mean, it's a blessing and a curse, but I mean, would you? I mean, like, if you could do, like, let's say, for example, Chase, like when you were
Mm.
learning Spanish, what if you could have done that with Spanish? Like 3 lessons of, like, this fucking sucks. I want to kill somebody, but then you're obsessed. And then a year later, you're a fucking master,
It's
you know?
interesting because the obsession comes with the fragility. I'm not good
Yeah.
enough. I like the I'm not good enough. I suck is what propels them to greatness. Because it's like, what are you talking about? This is really fucking good. Like, no, but it's not the best. So
Right.
it's a psychological fuck. And could I psychologically fuck myself? I can't. But if I could just flip that switch and be like, Chase, you just got to do something 3 to 4 times, and then you're fucking in it. I wish, but I
Yeah.
just it's not the Conrad genes. It's not.
no, no, it is the Conrad genes. It's just it's the Korean side.
It's not. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's not
It-
the.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I do wonder where because our parents both work very hard, so I don't know where it comes from, to be honest with you. I mean, if you look at the other Conrads, they're all pretty successful people. It's just something got twisted in our DNA
Yeah, but they're
where
all
we became couch people,
they're
Yeah.
fatally flawed people. They're like, "Good God, please get away from
So
me."
are we.
It's
Aren't we
like a
all? I don't know. I think that like I think that what happened with us is I think we became because our parents were probably the most successful of the Conrad parents, right? That's probably fair to say, right? Mom and dad. And because of that, like we got to see two things. First of all, we had more advantages, but the other thing is that I think we saw the misery of hard work, like what super hard work and like a life based on money does to somebody, and that turned us off from it completely, you know. And I think that ultimately led to us becoming couch people, you
well,
know.
Austin
I
can
understand.
attest to this because you went with mom, I went with dad. With
Mm.
father figure, I had structure with mom, and then it was gone.
No.
There was. You want to go to school today? What day is it? Nobody knows. Like it was just chaos. So if I could
Like,
go back again, if I would have stayed in structure, that would have been unbelievably helpful for me in those formative years. Yes. Lacking the structure really kind of crushed me for a long time. Yeah.
you know what? I was talking to Vic the other day, and by the way, Austin, Vic may join us in Oneana. It could be a nuts. That'd be an interesting session together. But the other thing is that he was talking about that Mexican house, you know, and you know what he talked about? How much it just sold again. Guess how much that house sold for?
600.
$1 million.
It's spot on, man. $600,000. Now I was with Austin. I thought that would be fucking way up there, man. That was a
It's
fucking
bad
cool house.
juju in that house, man. It's cool, but there's a lot of ghosts and
That's for
demons.
sure. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Can you imagine? Like, I was wondering, like, the people who moved in after we left, like, I wonder, like, what lingered, what fucking
My
lingered.
favorite memory from that house, one of them, is there was a motion sensor. There's one long hallway in this house, and there was a
Yeah.
motion sensor, and it moved. So always from the back, you tried to like crawl, and you could never make it. And then one day, Chris got up, and he like went full commando, like he dressed like a commando, and he had like a hairspray to spray to try to see the laser, and he was making
Wow.
it. He was gonna make it, and Garrett comes in, he's just coming in. He has no idea. He got home from school. And Chris goes, "Don't walk in the fucking hallway." And Garrett goes, "What?" And he walks right in the hallway, turns the light on. Chris gets and just beats the shit out of him. He didn't know why. He got the beating of his
uh,
life, and he had no
and we
idea
wind
why. It's
up
like,
having to hit him.
poor
Yeah.
kid.
About
Messed,
sexual
Makes
development.
sense.
stepped
Yeah.
on a landmine. Had no idea. Yeah, it was beautiful.
That's why he's so fragile nowadays. He seems very skittish to me.
Yeah, that was it. That was the moment that broke him. Obviously.
Always shuddering very quietly every time he enters a hallway. I never knew what that was
That
about.
now you know. Yeah, it
I know.
was a beautiful
Also, forgive
house.
me. Did I ever share with you the story of my quintessential Garrett memory? Did I ever share that with you about seeing
Uh
him in the basement?
yeah, you have shared it. You can tell it again
That was
though.
no, no, no. I think that's probably enough humiliation for the poor kid. Let's just say that there is such a thing as psychological scarring. Yes, and I I can empathize with the poor kid. I know what that's like.
I got another memory of Garrett. Yeah, I was tripping balls at the beach, and him and his buddy. I was doing it by myself, and I made it back. I was struggling. I barely made it back to the house in the heat. And he's like, "Hey, man, we're gonna go somewhere." I was like, "Hey, man, can you like just like hang out and like just I don't want to be alone." He's like, "No."
No,
It's
you're on your own.
just
All right.
left me. I was like, "Oh my God, that's
That's these are
saw
the
it."
Elrods.
Saw him in a
That's what
past
I.
life. He just left me. I was a POW. I was wounded, and he just walked away and left me in the desert.
Do
And
you
not a
think that's
virtuous people. Not a virtuous people.
is that an Elrod trait from your perspective, Dean?
I
To
don't
leave
Oh
think
people
so.
well,
alone?
I don't. No, I don't.
drug addicts, yeah,
No.
Whoa,
psychopaths,
man.
pegging. This is what these people are known for, right?
It's a good thing I have contact with the depth of my soul, or I would be offended by that. But no, I agree. The Elrod genes are not pure. We've got issues, fundamental issues, foundational issues
You
that
ever,
required therapy.
Austin, you ever thought about changing your last name to Straight Rod or something like that? Like, yeah, Straight Rod would be better than an L Rod, right? Or
Maybe
a
bent rod. The
s-
bent rod.
slight curve rod or something like that. Yeah, like
No,
something.
Jace, I've never thought about that before.
We were talking about this before, like the last name. I wonder if like maybe it wasn't they made rods, but like this the guy who was giving out last names was like these guys got a fucking rod up their ass. I'm gonna that's what I'm gonna call you, the L rod, the rod up your ass,
Well,
people.
maybe they were
You know,
Spanish though. Maybe it was the rod. Maybe that was it. Maybe they're not native. They were just Spanish. Who knows?
it's a different thing. Like, why are hot rods called hot rods? Like, what's the rod part of hot rod? Austin, you're a car person. You would know that, right? Why is it called a hot
We're
rod?
couch people. You're car people. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't know that. I did look up the origins of Elrod, though.
Okay.
I think we might have done this because it sounds vaguely familiar, but
Stems
it looks
from
like
where? England?
it says it's most frequently cited and genealogically traced origin for many Elrod families, particularly those in the United States and the South, like Georgia, Tennessee, and Texas. The original
There you
form
go.
is El Rot with two T's.
Rot.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh
the
no, the
rod.
rot. Oh
Oh
my
my
God,
God. No
people.
wonder.
Holy shit.
What
Oh
we
my
Jesus.
Okay.
You
Okay.
used rot earlier. You described him that way
I
earlier
know.
in the
I was
class.
like, you're forcing me to take this rot. Oh my God, it's all coming together. This is what we call nominal determinism. Yeah, you ever heard of that? It's like if you're called Mr. Baker, you're going to probably be a baker one day. Well, if your name is Rot, you're going to be spreading rots throughout your life to those who are around, That's
Dean,
it.
my name is Elrod. We
Oh,
evolved out of the
Rot.
rot phase,
I
but
think
it
that
said
might stick, Chase. We'll call him El Rot.
what's the origin? Where is that from?
okay, it's a habitational surname, which means it was originally given to a person who came from a specific location. Likely refers to a place like
Rotterdam,
Elierode near the Northheim and Lower Saxony, Germany. But there's also an
Saxony,
old.
Martin Luther's from.
Okay,
That's where we're
that's
from, dude.
maybe
Yeah.
why I like theology. But there's also an Old English one, uh, Ethelred. Yeah, that's a weird
Or maybe you're from the
Oh, that's
Ethelred.
dump where all the
no,
rotten
no, no.
shit's
There were
from.
kings. There were kings called Elithine or Elhat Elrond or something. They're like really old English kings, right?
Small
Like
lords,
before the
small
Normans
minor
invaded.
lords. Yeah.
I think I said that wrong. I think it's Ethelred. Ethelred.
Ethelred. Ethelred
Ethelred.
is
Yeah, he
that's
was
the
a
name
British.
of a king.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember him.
But the Ethel part is meaning noble or of elf slash supernatural being, and reed meaning counsel or advice. So
No.
the
What does
advice
rot
of a
mean? What does
noble.
rot mean? Rot. What does
No,
that
let's.
mean?
We're not talking about that anymore, Chase. That's in the past.
Stupid.
My name means the counsel of a noble elf in my from my
Yeah,
perspective.
well, we got you beat. Ours is bold counsel, buddy. It's better.
No, I'm an elf slash supernatural being that's giving advice. That's better. And that makes more sense. And that is fitting. I feel nominally determined by that name to be a
You
wise
know,
fellow.
since we're going down the family memories and stuff like that. Also, I got a question for you, man. There's certain things that like stick out in your brain as a kid. I remember the Elrod garage, like back when you guys were in the together and all that stuff in the old house and all that. And I remember Marty's car. Do you remember that blue car? It was a what was it? Was it a Firebird? What was that thing,
Corvette,
man?
I think, right?
Yeah,
Corvette? Was that?
it was a Firebird. I
Oh,
think a Pontiac Firebird.
What, Austin? That car, right? Did he? What? Like, what was that? Like his pride and joy? Was that like his precious baby? Like that sort of thing? I always was fascinated by it, but I didn't know anything about it. I never saw him drive it either. It was just always there, sitting there.
Yeah, I don't think he drove it super often. I would say he put a lot of stock into it. I think he cared for that car, as far as I'm concerned, and that he was always like that. Marty loved cars, and to this very day, I guess that's still
Do you
good.
like cars? Like, did he ever take you out there, like, son, let me show you, how to put in this transmission, or something like that?
No, I'm pretty indifferent to cars. Since
Really?
getting a motorcycle, I've developed somewhat of a fascination with those. But cars, like I'd drive like a Toyota Prius, if I had my choice. So
It's funny because there again, there's certain memories. I remember as a kid, there was a time when Hot Wheels were the shit, and in the Elrod basement, they would make these insane Hot Wheels tracks, like with like loops and all kinds of crazy. They were huge. They would take up the whole floor and stuff. And I remember you had so many Hot Wheels cars, and you knew the names of them all. I was like, wow, this is so interesting. I couldn't. I was totally amazed at the knowledge of cars and stuff. And as I've said before, the only one I remember was the Viper. I remember the Viper. I was like, this one's the cool. I'm not the Viper, excuse me, the Prowler. The Prowler. That was the one. Yeah, I thought that was the coolest of them all.
That type of car maintenance was appropriate. Like it was a nice house, and there was a two-car garage, and one side was dedicated with a cover to the
Yeah.
classic, to your classic car that you pour your money into. And then I saw it later on after the divorce, where I pull up to the house, and there's cars in the front yard, there's cars in the backyard. There's two-car garage, but like you can't fit your car in there because the other car is in parts, and it's just like, nah, this is the Alabama you don't want to be a part of. Yeah.
See, I remember they were working on that station wagon too, right? You guys did crazy shit to the station
Didn't you
wagon,
have like a
right?
beetle, like a bug back there, like the German car? You're right. It was just sitting there for a long time. Yeah.
We had a brown Volvo. We did have a Volvo station wagon.
My
Marty
favorite, my
worked.
favorite was the white Volvo station wagon. I loved that
Chase
car.
loved that car, man.
I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
station wagons. They were fantastic. Yeah, great
Yeah,
car.
he worked for Century Automotive, and they sold Volvos. So I think he got a really good deal on Volvos and like vehicles. So he tended to have a lot of those over the years. I think that's where a lot of his money went to,
Volvo's like
unfortunately.
a mini tank, man.
Good car.
You're
I've
safe in a
always heard
Volvo.
Volvo's reliable, good car. Like I've always heard that. Like you're not gonna fuck up with a Volvo, you know.
What is a Volvo? Is that German? What the fuck is that?
Swedish,
Swedish? I don't
Yeah, I
I
know.
think it's
think. I'm not
Swedish.
sure. Yeah.
Chase, you have a story about almost crashing with Chris in a Volvo, right? You're taking a road trip through a mountain pass or something of that sort.
Yeah, we were driving back. Actually, Chris did save multiple lives. We were driving back from the beach, and we stayed up the
Ultimate
entire night
story.
partying. We had to get back, and I was like, I'll drive the first shift. And I lasted less than 30 minutes, and I fell asleep at the wheel. And Chris like woke me up, and he's like, dude, are you awake? I was like, no, I just went toward the light. I went toward the light, which was literally the oncoming traffic. And he's like, dude, we need to pull over. I'm driving. And I woke up six
Wow.
hours later. Yeah, I was out.
So you're going from like Florida back to Huntsville? Like that
Yeah.
6 hour drive?
Yeah, like at
Holy shit.
4 in the morning, and I was driving, and I was out. I'm not drunk,
Wow.
not high, just fucking tired. Literally just tired. I was gonna go an hour or two and then switch, and I couldn't make it.
Speaking of which, I'm gonna make that drive this Chinese New Year, And I was thinking, these are the things I think about, because I haven't been into America in a long time. Let's say you're on a road trip in America through the South, something like that, and it's lunchtime and it's time to stop.
Cracker
And you know
Barrel.
how it is. Cracker Barrel. I didn't even think about Cracker Barrel. Good suggestion, Chase. The breakfast.
Unless
Solid.
there's some homegirl, but I go Cracker Barrel, I go country fried steak with the sweet whole baby carrots, baby. It's
That's what
delicious.
Chase is
Pretty
all
good.
about. That. I'm
Yeah.
the sunrise sampler myself. How about you, Austin? If you're making the trek, it's this lunchtime, you're gonna get some fast food, some shit like that. You're on the road. What are you gonna go
You
for?
better impress us, Austin. I swear to God.
If you want
Sweet
a real
sauce.
Southern experience, you got to go to Waffle House.
Yeah,
Waffle
that's a
House.
late night stop. Are you gonna stop there for lunch? Are you really gonna
That's a
stop?
late
I don't know.
night and
Lunch would
early
be.
morning.
Yeah, early
Yeah,
morning.
I didn't think
Yeah.
about that, Chase. Waffle House lunchtime is a little strange. That should be breakfast or late
Yeah,
night.
Waffle House is a strange time place. You go on late evening, early morning. That's when you go to Waffle House, man.
I do like Waffle House. Don't get me wrong. I've had some good times at Waffle House back in the day.
It's okay. It's all right. It's not. You know what, dude? Did you hear what
Breakfast.
happened to What did I just say? What was the store? What was the restaurant?
Cracker Barrel?
Dude,
Cracker Barrel?
they tried to woke it. They said we're gonna get rid of the store. We're gonna get rid of the items when you walk in. It's just gonna be a restaurant,
I
and
love that shit.
we're
I
gonna get rid
love
of the
that.
old man and the rocking chairs. It lasted like
Why?
2 months because she
Never.
was a woke white idiot CEO. It lasted like 2 months, dude. Everyone
What
said
was wrong
fuck
with
off.
the guy? What was wrong with that? Was it racist with the guy in the
Oh,
rocking chair?
we
That
need
was
something. They just had Cracker Barrel. They changed the sign without the man. It just said Cracker Barrel, no store, just a restaurant. And they're
oh,
like, it lasted less than a month, dude.
Well, it was probably a white man in that rocking chair, and God knows what kind of atrocities he was involved with. So,
He was a good old
Yeah,
white
the other
man. He had
day
his Negro
I
friends over to
watched
play checkers at Cracker Barrel. That's who he was.
I
He was a good
watched
guy.
a long like documentary about Aunt Jemima. I watched a whole thing about Aunt Jemima. It was fascinating, man, because Aunt Jemima
They
really
took
was
Aunt
like
Jemima off. They called that race, and I love seeing it. That's the one I always bought. Now they got rid of her. I would never buy it ever. Uncle
she's gone
Ben,
now. They
you got rid of
totally got
Uncle
rid of
Ben. I'm not buying
Uncle
Uncle
Ben's
Ben
gone.
either. Uncle
Uncle
Ben's
Ben's
gone
gone. I
too.
didn't know that. Oh shit. Well, but here's the see, Aunt Jemima is fascinating because like it was that is not like it was a white guy like I want an old mammy, and like he created it and stuff like that. And so I mean, like the guy was like, I want to get that like Southern goodness sort of thing, and so it was totally like invented just for the sake of appealing to people. But here's the thing with Aunt Jemima, people fucking loved Aunt Jemima, man. Like she was a sensation. There were like a whole series of Denny's like restaurants called Aunt Jemima's Kitchens. They were all over the country and shit like that. Like people fucking loved Aunt Jemima and stuff. And then the civil rights movement came and they toned it down. And then the woke shit came and they got rid of it entirely.
The
Yeah.
woke shit did everything opposite of what they tried to achieve. Oh, a black
Yeah.
woman's on some fucking syrup. Like, yeah, well, that's what we want to see. We trust her. We like her. Yes. And you fucking got rid of her. Fucking hate woke shit.
Did
Can't
Vic ever
stand.
take you to Mrs. Bobo's? You know Mrs. Bobo's?
I don't know. Is that a
Vic was
clown? What is that? Is that the
oh
clown's wife?
man.
What is that?
This was a Vic would do things like this. Like sometimes, like he somewhat in the haze of doing nothing, he'd like get high on like something like we're gonna go do something. We're gonna go ski or we're gonna go do something. And one time I was there, like in the summer, bored. It's like we're going to Mrs. Bobo's, and I was like, "What the fuck is Mrs. Bobo's?" And we drove like 2 hours outside of Huntsville to this like house in the middle of nowhere, like an old plantation house. And there's like a fucking big ass dinner table, and we all sit there with like strangers. And there was a big black lady called Mrs. Bobo, and she made fried chicken
And
and like all kinds of southern good shit. It was amazing.
it was
It was
good.
amazing. It was one of the
Yeah.
great meals of my life. I was like, holy shit, this is so good. I was like, Vic, good job, man. He's like, yeah, Mrs.
Let
Bobo's.
me tell you, dude, Southern black people and Caribbean black, they got some good food, but it will kill you. It will make you fat, but it is delicious.
Yeah,
It's so
I
good.
would love to. I've never had Caribbean food. You've had Caribbean food?
Dude, I dated a Caribbean chick for a long time. Yeah, I had a lot of it.
Did you make some Caribbean food? Did she do
Cook,
that,
man.
Jay?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, they take
I
pride
would.
in their food in those. You live from a little country, man. What are you known for? It's gonna be your food. It's gonna be your food, man. Yeah,
I tell you what,
that's
you're seeing with Kelsey now, man. I think that might be a must for you. Get a good cook, like
well, you need to understand someone's baseline. And then you kind of you take notes and then you wedge them toward what you want. You support them. It's going to take 3 or 4 times of them doubting themselves. And now cook.
how would you feel about a hyper healthy chick? Like what I
She
mean by that
she's
is like
today
she
she gave me
cooks,
a
but
lesson
she's healthy.
on protein. Dude, you know that fasting shit that you do? Remember the shit we you don't eat for right? You got an eight
Yeah,
hour window where you eat. You still doing that?
basically, yeah. I
I
can eat two
hated
meals
it.
a day,
I
pretty
fucking
much.
hated it. It worked, but I hated it.
Mm.
I've lost. I'm like 180 and I'm eating all the time.
Wow,
I eat
as you
all the
should.
time because it's clean and it's just
Mm,
protein and it's good. I'm just like,
mm.
damn, dude. She's like, yeah, what do you can eat whenever you want. You just got to eat the right way. I'm like, wow, man, this makes a difference.
Yeah,
It's
I had a good friend. He was the biology teacher, and he was mental about health. And he said the fasting was bullshit. He was like, it's all about you got to look at it like you're a machine,
yep.
and you just put in the correct like inputs into the machine, and that's it. I was like,
It is amazing to be with someone like that around. It's just like, oh shit, dude, really? I didn't know that. I thought you had to starve yourself. What's wrong? Of course, I bet I we have shitty eating habits. So yeah.
Yeah, Wuyen's not quite like that, but you can make some good stuff. Some really
See,
good
but
stuff.
the drawback is when you with someone that's super health conscious, they're very conscious of what they look like. It's like it's a little obsessive. It's a little. So there's drawbacks. Yeah.
Yeah, I think. How would you feel about a hippie chick? What I mean by that is like health conscious, but they're
A
hippies, so they're a little bit more.
successful hippie chick would be ideal. That would be great. Not
I
too
could
woo
see that.
woo, makes her own
Yeah.
money, but it's very conscious of food and spiritual shit. Yeah, that would be cool. But most hippie chicks are fucking broke and stupid. So
She could be out there, man. You're not in your neighborhood,
No,
but
no,
in a neighborhood out there, maybe on the Kona side or something like that.
maybe.
Uh, nice hippie chick. Yeah.
All right.
I'd like to thank Bobby real fast. He recommended this trilogy by William S. Burroughs, and I'm reading a book right now called Cities of the Red Night by William S. Burroughs, and it's the gayest book I've ever read in my life. It's incredible. I didn't know you
Why
could.
didn't you have us read that?
If I would have known about it, I probably would have.
Hmm.
I wanted to interject a little bit of philosophy, but I didn't realize that this amount of sodomy could be packed into a novel of this size. So, quite impressed, Bob. Thanks for the recommendation. Thoroughly enjoying.
Very cool. Very cool.
Dean, you'd
All
love
right.
it. You'd be enthralled by it. So,
I know
put it
why
on the
I'm
list.
gay. I just wish you'd tell us why you're gay.
Because it's cool. Because it gets me, points, social points, all the usual stuff.
Well,
Okay.
Pete Buttigieg model. If I ever run for Congress, maybe
Yeah.
I'll be
That'd be
gay
That's
kind of
too.
that.
a yeah.
Maybe.
That's
Sure.
it.
That's what
The
I call
Buttigieg
it.
model.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the way to do it, man. Austin, are you a top or a bottom? Why don't we end on that note?
Dean,
But Dean, I take the middle way. I don't really
let's
I
do
take
either.
the middle way. That means sometimes I'm a top, sometimes I'm a bottom. That's how it
But the
works.
majority of the time, 65%, which are you, Austin? Which one is
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. When you have to have a rod inside of you, what do you choose?
We're gonna we're not gonna talk about that, Dean, and
it?
I reprimand you severely for being such a dirty, dirty individual. It
He's a
upsets me.
deviant. He's a deviant, man.
You're
Yeah.
horrible. I hope you fall off a cliff or something of that nature.
Choose.
Metaphorically. Metaphorically.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, on that lovely note, we'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to the Divine Brothers. Bye bye.